My name is Mimi Mosame and I'm the Community Liaison Manager for MVV Environment Baldovi. My role can be classed as Public Relations and Corporate Communications. It entails working with MVV's internal and external stakeholders, including the local community, schools, neighbors, businesses, and community groups to create awareness about who we are as an organization, and particularly the 4 R's of waste management, including reduce, reuse, recycle, and recover. After my undergraduate studies, I worked in the tourism and wildlife industry at the Masai Mara in Kenya. However, we had post-election violence, which ignited a zeal in me to learn how to eradicate mass ignorance and enlighten people. I love my job because it gives me the opportunity to impact people and the environment in a positive way. The best part of my day when I meet a critic of energy from waste, we have a discussion and I see a shift in their thought process. That light bulb moment is priceless.
My name is Sandy Green and I work for Scrap Antics Community Interest Company. We have 4 areas of governance: sustainability, education, art and community. We've diverted from landfill over 80 tonnes. So everything we need and use and every project that we do starts off with recycled items or waste. We have wood and paper and paint and perspex and metals and fabrics and so much stuff that can be bought for whether it's a project with a 2-year-old or it's a design project for a university student or it's props for a theatre or whatever it is. I believe in everyone's got a story. I do believe that we've all got something to share, no matter where we come from or what we think or who we are. The only way we are going to encourage us to be a sustainable species on this planet is through people and planet sustainability. And to do that, we're going to need to be creative. We're going to need time to think and be inspired. We need to connect with each other and have the time to see what's really important. And sometimes it's the most basic things that are the most important, and we need to return to some of those basics.
My name's Elaine and I work for Scrap Antics. My role is quite varied here. I do a lot of different things, including some design work, I do workshops, I do art projects, but the main thing I do at the moment is managing the scrap store. I would recommend that anyone thinking about getting into this line of work definitely should. It's the way forward. I mean, it blows my mind how much stuff comes through here that would have gone to landfill. You know, things in perfect condition, like brand new boxes of stuff, and you're like, how is this getting thrown out? You know, anybody that can step into an industry that's going to make a difference is very, very needed. We have so much waste in the world, and it just doesn't have to be that way. You know, if it's lived its life as one thing already, and if it's not able to do that anymore, can it be something else? You know, can you look at it with a different perspective and like revamp it or upcycle it or anything to make a change, you know, rather than just throwing it in the bin? Anybody that feels like they need to make a difference like that definitely should. We're actually about to expand our volunteer program, which is pretty exciting. It means that we'll be able to hopefully offer more hours and offer various things like skill shares and asking what they actually want and creating the space for them to be able to do that. The community projects as well, we're able to help out. You know, because of the nature of our resources, we can be quite flexible with it. So if people are struggling or they've got a really tight budget or anything like that, you know, it feels really good to be able to be like, oh, we've got you, like we can help you out with this. You know, if people come into the shop for the first time, they're quite often blown away. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe everything in here is like, you know, donated or recycled or whatever. Because there's so much stuff, you know, and everyone finds something they like in it. Like, as long as you don't mind rummaging and getting in about it, then you'll find something that you love.
My name is Silke Eastbrand. I work for COSLA, which is the Convention of Scottish Local Authorities. I'm a policy manager for waste and climate change in COSLA. My role here is to make sure that our authorities can meet their political ambitions, as we say. For example, they can meet their net zero targets, they can run good and effective waste services, they can reduce residual waste and increase recycling. And importantly, they can create and deliver the services their local communities want. As we say, we help them to live well locally. Coming out of university, all I knew is that I wanted to make this world a better place. The first job I got in the UK was simply to administer international student grants. And from there I went into European relations, via housing, and I'm now in waste and climate change policy. And this is something I really care about, so that's great. I really like my job. It's interesting, it's varied. We work on issues that really matter. How and if we meet our net zero targets will have enormous consequences for the whole planet, every person and the next generation. It's satisfying to know at the end of the day you've made a difference, however small. Our work is also quite fast-paced. No day is ever the same and it really never gets boring. One moment you're preparing the spokesperson for a meeting with the minister, the next you're reading over a new policy that the Scottish Government wants to issue, and you're calling a meeting with your local authority colleagues to figure out what impact that policy would have. So we discuss with officials from Scottish Government or members of the Scottish Parliament or ministers what exactly we need to do to help our 32 local authorities here in Scotland to reduce their waste better, to carry out better carbon reduction, be it new policies, more money, new legislation perhaps. We work here with a huge variety of people, so there's government officials, waste professionals, academics, lobbying groups, and every day I really learn something new, and that's very satisfying. My advice for anyone looking for a career is do what you enjoy and what you find interesting and what you feel passionate and care about. Always show that you want to learn and grow. Never feel stupid to ask questions. But I think the most important thing is enjoy every day and believe in yourself.
My name is Laura Tage and I work for Davidson Chalmers Stewart Commercial Lawyers. I am an equity partner in the firm and I'm also the head of Environment and Waste Department. I have been a practicing commercial lawyer for 18 years, unbelievably, and I've been working in the waste and environmental sector for at least 10 of those 18 years. There are a lot of things that people don't know, and if they did know them, that they would change their behaviour. I think people don't realise that the waste that they create themselves just in their own house, what impact that can have, like in a bigger scale in terms of going to landfill or being recycled, and they don't associate the environmental problems caused by waste generally with their own actions. You know, waste is actually a very difficult area for everyone in the world in terms of climate, in terms of land use, in terms of pollution, and so I find it important, and I'd like to be working in an area that I think is important for not just for me or for the law but also for the world. I didn't set out to be an environmental lawyer, but I came to it because I wanted to do something more interesting, and then I moved gradually through energy into environment into waste, and that transition through those areas was more and more interesting each time I moved. It's always fast moving, it's always lots of different things. Sometimes I'm acting for landowners, sometimes I'm acting for big companies, sometimes I'm acting for banks who don't understand environmental law. So the variety is definitely the best part of it. Recycling rates are still really low, especially in this country, and we're not self-sufficient in terms of our waste, and until we are able to reduce the amount that we produce, we need to be building more plants that deal with waste. So going forward, there's all the old issues still remain, although the politicians would like to think that they don't. They are still there. There will always be elements of waste that need to be dealt with in a way that seems environmentally unfriendly. The challenge is about how you own up to that and deal with it in the best environmentally friendly way you can. And I think that passing the responsibility for the creation of waste onto the people that produce it in the first place rather than the people that are dealing with it at the back end is also a big challenge that still exists.
My name is Veronica Formosa Hamilton, and my current role within the sector is with Zero Waste Scotland. As an organisation, we are very much a growing team with a very diverse skill sets, from policy analysts, statisticians, technical experts, communication specialists, you name it. And our goal is very much to inform policy and motivate individuals and businesses to really embrace the benefits of the circular economy. I'm very much part of a brand new team which was employed and dedicated to administrating the Recycling Improvement Fund. So the fund was announced by the Scottish Government last year and is £70 million worth of capital grant funding for local authorities to strengthen local authority collection systems, supporting infrastructure, and hopefully really help to nurture partnerships as well. When I went to university, because I really wanted the opportunity to sort of specialise and to really develop my knowledge in a specific area, I didn't intend to get into the area of waste. I enrolled into a very different degree and very quickly changed my majors and decided that I wanted to specialise in environmental management. Once you do get into waste, it's something you become incredibly passionate about, and there's certainly an ever-evolving stream of work and policy developments and priorities for what we do. So one of my sort of main motivations for being in the sector and staying in the sector is the drivers behind economic development and high consumption habits that we're all very much aware of. We know that 80% of our global climate emissions are currently linked to production, consumption and waste of products and resources. And it has been really refreshing in recent years to see that the sector is getting more of the recognition and attention that it deserves in the vital role that it has to play in helping to really help mitigate the issues of climate change and resource depletion as well. So I felt very personally honoured when I first came into the organisation in September on day one to be selected as a package lead for the route map for the waste disposals chapter. And that's because I was able to impart various levels of specialism and knowledge which I had gathered over the years. So working in an organisation that allows me to make the best use of my knowledge and skill sets while also learning a lot more from some very, very experienced and knowledgeable colleagues in the organisation and the sector at the same time. It's really important to pick challenging problems. Challenging problems, will allow you to feel frustrated, but also to develop a great sense of commitment and also experience great satisfaction when you make progress towards sustainability outcomes. So if you bring passion, enthusiasm and commitment, I believe the rest of what you need will always follow.
I'm Audrey Duckworth and I am the Head of Environment here at Bin Group. My role involves keeping the company compliant, giving advice on the day-to-day running of the waste plants that we have, and also assisting in driving the circular economy and resource efficiency. I do all different things every day, and no day is ever the same. I might get involved in waste data one time, or I could be taking water samples. I might be looking at different waste streams that we could potentially be taking into the site, and also helping the staff to understand about resource efficiency, what it means for us to be part of the circular economy and a part of the solution, which I really love. When I was very young, probably about 10 years old, I really saw the need to look after the planet. So I've always wanted to be outdoors, I've always wanted to make a difference, and recycling is something that I've always been passionate about. Things so much so that when I was younger, I actually got the recycling triquetra tattooed on me. So I've got my reuse and reduce and recycle. An opportunity came up with a business I was in to do my Masters. So I did initially my PG dip in environmental science and management, and then I moved into a Masters in waste and clean energy technologies. And I did my dissertation on the circular economy, which was just a new concept at that point. Ellen MacArthur had just done her paper on that, and I just found it so interesting, and it definitely is the way that we should be moving forward with the circular economy, and seeing the waste industry, the resource management industry as part of that solution. I really love working with people and changing people's perceptions about waste and resources, to get folk to understand why we need to look after our resources, and also using my experience to teach the new generations that are coming up, helping people to see that this industry is something that's actually driving change and is worthwhile, because things are changing all the time, and thinking about how we can make positive change and always be improving what we're doing.